Most of us treat having fun as a byproduct of winning. Neuroscience suggests that we actually have it backwards. Playfulness is not the reward for good play, it is actually the critical function that allows us to play well in the first place. Today, we'll investigate how fun actually positively impacts the brain and how to adjust when life doesn't give you anything to smile about. We underestimate fun because we think it's a luxury. It isn't. In a high stakes environment, it is actually a primary sensor calibration. Groundbreaking research by Dr. Barbara Fredrickson shows that in order to actually perform at our best, we need fun and playfulness and such positive emotions. Her Broaden-and-Build Theory demonstrates that our functional field of view is expanded when we experience playfulness and interest. When the brain is in a state of play, it experiences a broadening effect. And that's not just metaphorical. We found out through eye tracking and neural imaging that the visual and neural constraints of the superior colliculus, that's the part of the brain that directs gaze and attention, are relaxed. We can actually see more and pay attention to more if we're having fun. A landmark study by Fredrickson and Brannigan in 2005 showed that participants who were having a good time were actually seeing global patterns and peripheral data a lot better than those in neutral or negative states. High cortisol and misery trigger foveal tunnel vision, which means that your brain is shutting down and it is focused on self preservation. It's a biological mechanism that focuses on survival and ignores everything else. Fun is the plus EV toggle for your vision. You don't have to be clowning around or laughing out loud, but if you're in a good state of mind, you operate with more pixels than if you're bored or miserable. You miss the sudden chip count change, or forget to put out the right chips, or miscalculate the pot. There are so many ways in which fun actually benefits us. Now that we dealt with how many pixels you get, there's also something that would enhance the refresh rate of your processor. It's called dopamine gating. Dopamine in the prefrontal cortex, the PFC, acts as a gatekeeper for information updating. Research by Cools and Desposito shows an inverted U shape between dopamine and cognitive control. Fun isn't a distraction. It is the chemical lubricant that allows your brain to take in real time updates of the internal model of the game we're playing. To stay in the flow zone, we need to keep the gate open. And in order to keep the gate open, we just have to have fun. Now, don't get me wrong, there are ways of going overboard and it's an inverted U shape, remember? So crossing into mania is just as dangerous. Just have a good time. It's easy to have the high resolution state of mind when life is good and life is fun. So, what do we do when life's not that great at the moment? What if you're going through a massive downswing, or someone in your family is sick, or there is something else that just isn't going your way? You can't lie to your brain and tell it to be happy. That's not going to work. This is the mechanical solution to cognitive friction. Dr. Matthew Lieberman from UCLA conducted research on affect labeling. He found out that in order to suppress heavy emotions such as guilt, sadness, anger, we consume a lot of glucose and executive function. To keep those feelings outside of your conscious awareness, you are using up 30% of metabolic RAM that you should be using for the game instead. The simple act of naming an emotion and saying it out loud triggers inhibitory signals. Your neural activity is shifted from the amygdala, where all the pain lives, to the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex. To get back to the fun, high resolution state, we must flush the system. We don't name the burden and cry or vent because we love dwelling in our misery or because we expect anything to be changed by that. But we have to deprioritize the background processes and free up the emotional RAM so that we can play better. We account for hard work, grit, discipline, strategy in the poker environment and also in the high stakes business environment. And we price soft emotions such as playfulness, interest, and fun at zero. In reality, fun is a performance multiplier. Without it, grinding through the misery as we take toxic pride in sometimes, we're like a car that is trying to get to its destination with a parking brake engaged. We might get there eventually, but we're burning us up in the process. Integrating fun is not only about feeling better, it is about system optimization. And therefore, it is a competitive advantage. If an environment or a mindset isn't fun, it is by definition suboptimal. That's because we don't have a poker mode and a life mode as we want to imagine. It is all the same hardware. When you use work to distract yourself or set aside the burdens, you're not actually deleting the emotion. You're just pausing the payment of interest on a high interest loan, and that is emotional suppression. You're using up so much metabolic RAM just to keep those emotions in the background. And again, what you're experiencing in life, you're also experiencing at the poker table. If you use suppression to survive your life at home, you will be in a low resolution state wherever you go. Joy is not a reward or a distraction. Joy is a high performance requirement. So after a long, hard day at poker, I'm a tournament poker player, and success doesn't always come easy. But I fired like 5 bullets into this one tournament over the last 3 days. It's not a big deal, but it frustrated me so much that I started playing games on my phone. This is the opposite of keeping the aperture open. Now, does this disagree with the science? Yes. Do I still believe that science is important and is correct? Yes. The advice is right, but in all honesty, we are human and we should all cut ourselves some slack. Don't do it again tomorrow and try harder.